we go. Hello.
Dannon, there you are. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm just, let's see, waiting to go live in Facebook.
Sounds good. I figured we could give a couple minutes, just let some people filter in.
For sure. How's it going?
Oh, not bad. I know it's almost dinner time for you guys over there. So
Yeah.
it's dark out here now at 7.
Oh, I know, right? But creeping towards spring, kind of. Awesome. So how's it been over there? Do you get to go into classes yet, or are you?
Yeah, actually, I'm here now, but
nice.
We're about our hybrid, half in person, half online.
Okay.
It's not super bad. It's I'm a commuter, so I get to be home a little bit more. But.
Okay, cool. Oh man, that's here in Seattle. It's just everything is shut down. So
it's tough, especially when you do what we do. I mean, half learning is so hands-on. So
right. I know. So that's why this is so great. We can actually see some gear.
Most definitely. No, I'm excited. I have some friends in the room with me. Who are
oh yay! Okay, amazing.
Gears on here now, so this should be super fun.
Awesome. Okay, well, we are officially live on Facebook in the Women in Audio group. So, Dannon Johnson, thank you so much for taking the time to demo some gear for us, an SSL console, which is extremely rare to find on YouTube. A woman demonstrating gear. Who would have thought?
What a novel idea.
I know. So yeah, I'd love to just start with an introduction. You want to just say, where you are right now, what you've been up to, where you were in school, and yeah, and I'll make you a host so that you can share your screen too.
Absolutely, yes, I do have some PowerPoints that I will share in due time. But yeah, so I'm Dannon Johnson. I'm a freshman music technology major at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
So one of like 3 major cities in Pennsylvania that people know about. But as I said, I'm at Duquesne University. I'm a transfer student, so I'm a little bit older than your average bear of a freshman, but I love what I do here. And I've been in audio for roughly 7 years or so. I started my last year of middle school, freshman year of high school. I became sound engineer for my high school's marching band. And that's just what set me on the trend of wanting to do this for a living. I absolutely fell in love.
Nice.
And here we are. I know you posted the video from my studio, but I am the owner and lead engineer of Guffy Cam Studios that I run with a friend of mine out of my basement, like every other audio student. But
awesome.
That's a lot of fun. And then also I wanted to introduce Mackenzie, who is on this call. She's actually my vocalist for tonight for this demo.
Oh, cool.
She's in the other room. She's over there. Say hi, Kenzie. There she is. She's in our live room. So at Duquesne, we have our control room, we have a vocal ISO, a piano ISO, and then we have a live room. And that's where she's at right now, kind of hanging out, waiting to do some singy-songy stuff. And she is a junior.
Okay, very cool.
She's a voice major. And I mean, also fellow female in audio. And, if anyone who hears this likes how she sounds, she is an artist herself and has an album out under the name All My Love, and the album is Sincerely Oblivion. She has the best harmonies I've ever heard, so I cannot recommend it enough.
Oh, yay. We'll post some links after too.
Oh, absolutely. I can share PowerPoints. I wanted to share my email and stuff in case anyone had questions.
Awesome.
Social media, so forth. But that, and then just one more little intro. I, being here, have to plug my Duquesne staff. The faculty here are incredible. We have 3, kind of the big 3 we call them. We have Thomas Kikta, who is the chair of our department. We have Jay Dutt, who is a 5-time Grammy-winning engineer.
Amazing.
We have Jesse Noss, who is the owner of Red Cayman Media in Pittsburgh, who is one of the biggest studios in the area. So
very cool. Awesome. So, I mean, do you want to just launch in?
If you want to, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I will make you the host.
Sounds good.
And there you go.
All right. Yeah, so I have a little overview. Obviously, we're going to talk about the multi-track recording process, which is the entirety of what we do, whether it's analog, digital, tape, you name it. Got to follow it. Specifically on the SSL AWS 948, courtesy of Duquesne. And I'm going to do a demo. Like I talked about, we're going to do a demo of basic tracking and overdubs using the analog side of the SSL.
Very cool.
Let me open up my first PowerPoint here. Share screen. There we go. All right. Look okay? Sounds good. So obviously the SSL AWS 948, there is a 924, which is the mono version of this console, hence 48 inputs, 24 inputs. Pretty easy. So here's a picture of the console I'm currently sitting at. We also run, and you'll see on the next slide as well, PMC monitors out of England. So this is just a English-based room. We have SSL, which is from the UK. We have PMC, which is from the UK, and all top tier audio equipment. So I'm very grateful to get to work on this every day. A couple specs on the console itself. It is an analog mixer, but what makes it special is at the flip of a little blue button, it can become a hybrid console and a DAW control surface. So I could launch ProTools, Logic, you name it, and all of these faders would move with what's on your screen.
That is awesome. And it's so pretty.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's gorgeous. But no, it's a very versatile console, and what I'm about to present tonight in demo doesn't even scratch the surface of what this thing can do.
Amazing.
It is 48 inputs, like I said, hence the 948 name. It is 24 channel faders, but where you access your 44 inputs, which you'll see me do in the demo, is with the flip of a rotary knob, your faders become the next 24. So they're kind of layered on top of each other. Or you can use the rotary knob, whichever you're more comfortable with. There are three main modes of operation for this console. There is stereo mix, inline mix, and inline tracking. Now, stereo mix kind of is just what it sounds like. Each channel or I/O strip has a left and right. Stereo mix, you're using a stereo signal to one channel strip. Our inline mix doubles the number of inputs you have, essentially making, instead of left-right, you have input 1 and 2 on one channel strip. So if you need to record a massive orchestra that has more than 48, mics you're gonna run, that'd be your go-to. And then inline tracking is most similar to what we run here at Duquesne, and that is how the console functions best in terms of being a hybrid console, going from DAW to analog and back and forth. And I have obviously the PMC monitors again. Go to the next slide. Oh, there we go. So we have the channel strip to take a look at. We have, and now these are things I'm going to be using tonight since I can't get my computer on top of the console. I figured it'd be easiest to show this way. But the very, very top, we have our gain knob, and we're going to talk about gain staging tonight, which I said we'll learn more about. We have our phantom power, which we are going to be using tonight because we're using a condenser microphone. The next section down, we have our EQ, which SSL EQs are notoriously great along with their compressors, so can't complain. We have our Qs, which if you're familiar with the term auxes, same concept. This is what we're going to send our headphones to, our reverbs, kind of anything we want in our headphones and foldbacks, going to live here. And then we have stereo width, which is just a fancier term for pan. There are actually two pan knobs on this console. The stereo width focuses on what we're going to hear from headphones and left, right. And there's a pan knob up above, which focuses on what comes out of our monitors here. So, and at the very, very bottom, you see your basic, mute, select, solo, which is on every console. And I cannot stress this enough, read the manual. If there are any questions you could possibly have about this console, read the manual. I will say that at Duquesne, we have a saying, it's RTFM, read the, figure it out for yourself manual. And there's one slide I'm going to go back to actually, because I think I may have glanced over it. Yes, here we go. Computer skipped through it there. So this is how we run our console at Duquesne. We have what is called a dual path inline configuration. And you saw the little asterisk next to inline tracking because this is kind of just a variation of that. So we have on each channel strip, our left channel is a microphone in, mic line in, and our left channel is a line in, meaning that our one, the mic, functions as our input from an instrument, and the line level functions as our monitor level. So we kind of see deflection from input and deflection from output in one channel strip up on our meter bridge. Like I said, dual path, we have channel and monitor path. And then inline, it's on one I/O. So that's kind of where that name came to be. And then here is actually a diagram from the manual itself. Look at that, manual has it. But as you can see, mic goes in. This is the rotary knob I talked about. If you would press it, it'd go to a fader, one and the same. Output to your DAW, tape machine, whatever your storage device may be, from the left, and then we're gonna go back out in line right, which to our mix bus, to our monitors. And you'll see on the console here that there are many different buses you can go through, and mix bus is kind of what we're normalized to in terms of how we hear things back. And then I think the other slide, oh, there we go, is a general overview of the console itself. These are kind of the big three, if you will. So we have our I/O, which is a channel strip. And then we have the meter bridge. So this right here, can you see my mouse? Cool. So this would be our left signal, which you'll see is our input. And then our right signal, which you see would be our output, or what we're hearing from the speakers. This is obviously key to see if you're getting sound. And then our master module over here has a couple things that live in it. So our master fader is right down here in the very bottom corner. Kind of cut it off in this picture. These are our play, stop, record, which work right in line with Pro Tools. So you don't have to touch the computer at all, really. This is what is called the TFT. This is our screen where we access things like total recall, which I'll explain at the end. We access things like going from channel to monitor path in terms of sending effects to and from. And then we can pretty much edit whatever we want in terms of usability of the console from this little computerized area. And then buses, which we would select here in our meter bridge, live in this area, as well as our fold backs, which is what our cues send to. And you'll see me do that tonight with headphones. And our stereo echo returns, which is what allows what we send to headphones to come back to us. So when you see my next PowerPoint where I talk about signal flow, it'll kind of make more sense how this goes from here to here to here, but under here and then back to here. Cool. So there's that one. Let's see. If there's any questions, I will happily take them throughout or at the very end. So just chime in.
And you can use the chat box.
Absolutely. Actually, a friend in the room with me is keeping an eye on it. So
okay, great.
If anything pops up that I don't see right away,
great.
he is there. So now I guess to my next PowerPoint. Let me go back here. All right. Share screen. Here we go. All right, so the multi-track recording process, which is kind of the biggest one tonight. And like I said, what I'm going to demo tonight using the SSL. Now this would be the exact same for any console you're on. Obviously, terminology might be a little different, like cues, auxes, or signal flow might be a little different, but this is all kind of one and the same in terms of how audio gets from instrument to consumer. Oh, okay. So there are two analogies in audio. Now this may seem kind of goofy, but this is how I learn. This is how I like to teach other people. I think it's pretty common to say that you've heard signal flow as water before. I think that's kind of just, I don't want to say standard, but standard in the industry and how we teach signal flow. Mm-hmm. Which you'll see me demonstrate tonight. You kind of think of what sound I'm getting from the instrument as going into the console, its input pipe, if you will, and then kind of following, trickling downstream. Auxes might put a right turn in it and send it down that stream and so forth. And the other one, which is less common and specific to a mentor of mine, at least that I know of, is cake. I think we all kind of like cake in our own way, don't get me wrong. But I like to think about anything in audio really as like baking a cake. So to me, the multi-track recording process, with the first step being basic tracking, is like gathering your ingredients. I'm gathering guitars, eggs, flour, sugar, drums, bass. And then we move forward to overdubs and we're adding, okay, maybe we want some chocolate chips. Maybe we want some sprinkles in there, some filling. I don't know. Mixing, obviously, we're going to get the right measurements we need, kind of stir it all up, bake it off, and mastering is like putting the cherry on top. So that's kind of how I like to think about that.
I love that, by the way. That's awesome.
It took me a little bit of time to find clip art that I actually liked for this. All right. Yep, let me go back one here. Google would like to work with me today. Here we go. So like I said, now depending on who you ask, this answer could be a little different, but there are 3 basic stages of the multi-track recording process. Some people will say 4, they'll add mastering in there, cool, fine. But for the simplicity of it, there's basic tracking, overdubs, and mixdown. Basic tracking and overdubs is what we're going to be doing today. And then mixdown, which to me is kind of self-explanatory, and I know to some it is as well, is just mixing. It's a fancy way of saying we're going to take everything and make it sound how we want it to. So to continue with the cake analogy, I have basic tracking as sitting down with your client and saying, hey, do we want chocolate or vanilla cake? We got to sit down and figure out what's our goals of the session. What do we want the song to be? You know, what are we going to have drums? How many drums are we going to have? We're going to have 2 guitars, things like that. Overdubs, where we add things to our base layer. Do we want dark chocolate, white chocolate, milk chocolate, sprinkles, raspberry filling, white almond cake with raspberry filling? My favorite. Such a good blend. And then, like I said, mix down, getting your measurements right. You can't have too much sugar. Too much reverb usually isn't a good thing, which is, you know, kind of a trap to beginning audio engineers. Throw it all in your mixer and make it taste good.
Nice.
So, basic tracking in particular, like I said, is going to be a big focus because that's kind of what we're doing tonight. I have, as a baker, engineer, if you will, you meet with your client and you discuss what you want. Pre-production is probably one of the most important things you could do in a studio session. It's so much more difficult to just jump into recording and playing a song when you don't have goals set for yourself. So it's important to sit down and say, hey, like I said, do we want X number of drums? Do we want a classic sounding thing? Do we want a super overproduced sounding thing? It's all, you know, up to you and your client. So basic tracking in particular is building that foundation. It's kind of just setting the stage for where the rest of the song is going to go. Get your ingredients out. Typically things like drums, bass, and keys will be recorded here. You can do everything if you want, but it's more common for them to be overdubs like guitars and vocals. So you would have what are called scratch tracks to get your drummer, your bassist, your keyboardist through that part of the session. And scratch tracks are just rough recordings to give them markers like, hey, chorus is here. All right, hit that. Verse, here, hit that. So you would have, say, your guitar player, vocalist, doing a scratch track. They're just chugging along. It can be kind of junky. It's what it is. It's not going to get used. Most likely. I say that loosely because some scratch tracks come out great and you end up keeping them. But they give, like I said, the drummer, bassist, people outlets to follow along to.
Yes.
And then we have some things to remember. This is a big one for me. Scratch tracks are not final. Don't get too picky about them. I know personally, Green Day is my favorite band, and I know that some scratch tracks from their vocals on the last record were used for the final cut. It happens. Sometimes the feeling's just there. It's not common, however. Keep in mind that you're just chugging. You hit a wrong note, don't stop playing. It's not worth it. And then another one, which I don't think people realize too often, is you have to, don't have to, but recommended, you add reverb to the headphone mix for your musicians. Musicians tend to play much faster without reverb in their headphones. It's just a spatial awareness thing, I think, and it's I hear myself and I need to go. Like, I keep this momentum going, but with reverb, it kind of gives them a sense of space and a sense to slow themselves back down. So we're going to add reverb today to kind of demonstrate that. But that is that. So let me stop this share. Cool. Or if there's not any questions, I can kind of jump right into the demo.
Yeah, I think.
Sounds good. So let me put some gloves on here. We, obviously with COVID, have to wear gloves for our console and masks in school. But it's important when you do work with an SSL like this that the faders are touch sensitive. So we have to have gloves that don't hinder its ability to sense your fingerprints.
Right.
And for me as an engineer, I kind of like to push faders up from the bottom, and I can't do that on here. So sometimes it annoys me. But nonetheless, throw this other glove on. I see Kenzie's ready.
Oh, yay.
Cool. All right.
Very cool.
There we go. So I'm going to move you guys here to our first channel strip area. So this is where I'm going to be hanging out for this first bit of the session. So one of the first things, there we go. to establish in a session is communication with your artist. If you can't communicate, you're not going to have a very effective session, to say the least. So we're going to establish what we call a talk back today, as well as getting her microphone to our feed so we can hear her, and the talk back is so she can hear us. So she knows, and she's on the Zoom call right now because I have her listening to me, that we're going to start to gain stage, which you would just say, hey, I want you to sing at, for a vocalist, whatever volume you feel is going to be your loudest for this particular song, such that we can have our best signal to noise ratio possible, which means our best input of her over the innate noise that comes from our console, our wires, our microphones, etc. So Mackenzie, I know you can hear me. If you'd like to give me a sample of what you think you're going to be singing. Ah, phantom power. I looked at that and I was like, why am I not getting deflection? So she is using a 414 right now, which requires phantom power. It is a condenser microphone, which works on 2 plates, and one of them needs to be charged, hence why we're going to add 48 volts to it. So we click on our 48 volts, and I don't know if you saw, but I turned my gain back down. It is very important to have your gain off before you click on phantom power, or click it off. You can cause pops in the system. If it's a ribbon mic, never turn phantom power on. You're going to fry it. Okay. Pro tip. Anywho, now that that's on, Kenzie, if you'd like to give me a little bit again. There we go. So I'm not sure how, yeah, you can see a little peak there. We see deflection from her. I'm going to boost her up a little bit. There we go, looking good. So right now I'm going to go to my channel path, which is this fader, turn her up to unity gain, which unity gain is 0 on any console, is what that manufacturer decided is the best signal to noise ratio to work off of. It's not a standard to be used, it's just to be manipulated to what fits what you're recording. So she's at unity gain in the channel path. We're going to flip with the press of the rotary knob to the monitor path, turn her up to unity gain there, such that we can hear her. And then we're going to slide over to the master module. Get my chair out of the way. Going on a road trip, boys. All right. So we're at the master module now. And what you don't see, which I can kind of try and get in, is our A to D converters to take the analog signal from our SSL to our storage device, which today is ProTools, once I wake up the computer. Nice. And so she's getting deflection in input 1. And then we also have our patch fade down here, which normally I would use to add our reverb, but over break, they've kind of readjusted our console such that we don't have to. But if you'd want to add EQ, you know, compressors, this is your boy to use. So at the master module, there we go. And then at ProTools, which I think you can kind of see now, drag this over. There we go. This is my track that I have up for her. So she is coming in on input 1, and we're going to send her out of input 1 because we also turned on the monitor path in that channel strip. And we're going to input monitor her so we can see deflection. Would you look at that? We see her in ProTools. Perfect. Nice. Now we go to our master fader, turn this up. And when I talked about the SSL having a couple different buses, this is where we click on our mixed bus, because that is where our path to hear her and to record via, you know, how we're normalized is the mixed bus. So that's clicked on. We're going to turn up. Can you hear her okay?
Yeah.
There she is. All right. So we have her coming in now, and what we're going to do is establish communication with her. So we're going to set up our talkback. So we need to turn on her headphones first. Come on over this way. I need like a GoPro strapped to my chest.
Awesome.
So our headphones are cues. Like I said, they're this little green section here. So we use, at least our console, is normalized to QA. There's also QB, there's foldbacks, etc. So I click this rotary knob on, bingo, and I go to QA. I turn it up because that is the level of which she is getting of herself into her headphones. And then I slide back over here. You get your exercise in with this console. To our foldback, which is what allows headphones to be sent to themselves, as well as reverbs to be added, etc. So I click on, let's see, QA, because that's where I'm sending her. And I click on mix, because that's the bus we're using. and I turn that level up. And then if I want to add reverb to her signal, which I do, our reverb unit is normalized to stereo echo return 1. Like I said, I have to patch previously if this weren't updated over break, but we're going to go in to stereo echo return 1 and do the same thing. So we're going to click fold back A because that's what we're using. And then we're going to click mix bus and turn it up. So our knob up top for our stereo echo returns is what allows us to hear it in the control room. And our knob at the bottom, which is our level, is what allows her to hear it in her headphones. Okay. So we're gonna turn hers up. I'm gonna turn her back on. So we should be able to hear her. See if she can hear us. Oh, would you look at that?
Yay.
Can you hear me in the talkback, Kenzie?
I hear you. Yeah.
Sounds good. So if she wouldn't be able to hear us, if she needed more of us, if she needed less of us, we can go up to our talkback section up here. Talkback out is our gain, and talkback to fold back is what she's getting from us into her headphones. Cool, cool, cool.
Cool.
What we're gonna do, come over here, slide myself over, is we're gonna record our first basic track.
Awesome.
We're gonna go into Pro Tools. Let me drag this back over. Let's see. There we are. Record enable is one of those things that don't turn on unless you're ready to record, and turn it off when you're done recording, because you never know what you could overwrite or lose in the session. So we're gonna go and turn on some record for her. All right, Kenzie, you ready to give us a take?
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna cue you, and you ready?
All right, thanks.
All right. So it is recording now, and she's gonna sing us a little diddly. You sing anything there, Kenzie?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I thought you said you were going to cue me and then I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant I was going to start you. My bad. I was like, did I do something? Well, let's give that another go. When I say cue you in, I'm gonna press spacebar. Cool? All right. See what I mean? Communication is key.
Communication.
So let's delete that. We don't need it. We're gonna go back to the top. All right, I'm pressing spacebar now. So she knows she's able to record. Cool. So that's going to be, very good job, Kenzie.
Yay.
So that's going to be our first track. And then what we're going to do for an overdub, which is the second portion of our basic tracking, is head up to Pro Tools. Make sure you can see this okay. There we go. And we're going to make another track. So let's see, we're going to go track, new. Another thing that is very important in Pro Tools and for any studio is to learn these shortcuts. It will save time. It may seem minuscule at first, but it saves time. We'll make a new mono track. Now, because each channel strip runs both a channel path and monitor path, I need to change what input she's feeding into and what output she's feeding from in that track such that she doesn't overwrite herself. So her original track, I'm going to now send out to channel 2, and we'll turn on its monitor path so she can hear what she previously recorded. We don't need an input on it anymore since she's done recording to it. So we'll shut that off. And then we're going to go to the new track. And it's going to come out of 1 now because that's where she's plugged into in the other room, and why get up and change it when we can just do it right here.
Nice.
I don't want to wheel my chair the way over there. So we're going to send that out to 1. Now, can you just give me a little talking there?
Oh, hello.
See, we can see her in our new channel that we made.
Very cool.
So give me a second here, Kenzie. I'm going to send the other signal to your headphones, and then we'll be good to go.
All right, awesome.
All right, so we do the same thing as what we did when we set up her headphones originally, with one difference. So we now go to fader 2, channel 2, and instead of turning her up in the channel path as well, we're not recording there. So we're gonna flip to our monitor path, turn up to unity gain. And we're going to go to our cues as well and turn on our cue to center her headphones. So come up here, turn on my cue, turn her up a little bit. And then obviously we can adjust the level as she needs be. But now we come over to our TFT. There we go. And it's important to send her Q stereo, which is the QA, into the monitor path such that she hears herself. Because if it's in the channel path, the computer thinks, hey, she should be recording something to this right now. She should be hearing it. But she's not. So we need to send it to the monitor path. So it's like, hey, she's going to use something she already recorded. So we go up here. See a little better there. And we go and we select our channel, which I'll wheel back over here. Select channel 2. There we go. Bring it up on our screen and go into our channel menu. And we see, let's see if I can. Yeah, if you want to. I have a friend here who's going to hold up my computer for me.
Oh, great.
So see the screen. There we go, if you want to come.
Cool.
Better that way? Cool. So we have our Q stereo right here. Up there. There we go. Our Q stereo right here, which we're going to flip to our monitor path. So we come down here and we see, let's see, Q stereo. So we go, whoop. And now it's in our monitor path. Thank you, Emiliano.
Nice.
So now, when we press play, she will be able to hear what she previously recorded.
Very cool.
You ready to do an overdub, Kenzie? All right. So we're going to record enable. We're going to go record enable in ProTools. All right. I will press spacebar here for you in a couple seconds. You ready? All right. You're coming in. Look at that. She writes the best harmonies, I swear.
So pretty.
Very, very good. Everyone thinks it's beautiful, Mackenzie. So yeah, that's kind of the most simplistic way to do a basic tracking and overdub on the SSL AWS 948A. And like I said, this barely scratches the surface of what this console can do. So the final thing, before you would leave the session, say all we were doing is these 2 takes. Great, fine. Especially in a setting like this, where there's other kids gonna come in, do a similar thing, something different, you have to zero out the board.
Okay.
So we're going to come up back up to our TFT. Yeah, if you can. Cool. He's gonna hold it up for me again. Very helpful. Yeah, look at that. So we go to our TR spot, which is total recall. And then we press all twice. And that brought down all of our faders. So the faders will kind of slide down. Actually, I'll do that again. Can you just pan right here, Amelia?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. So if I press all twice, faders shoot back down. Pretty sweet. Then it shows us, okay, so our channel 1, something's off up there, which is our gain knob. So I'm gonna come over here, turn that down, click phantom power off, boom, turn back down our QAs, click those off. All right, come over here, go back to where we were, and our TFT tells us this. They won't tell us, hey, it's this rotary knob, but you'll see, hey, something in this channel path isn't zeroed out. So let's see, scan. All channels matched. Would you look at that?
Nice.
So now the board is ready for the next person to use in whatever configuration they may want to use. Yeah, so that's kind of the basics of it. And
nice.
if you feel feisty and want to switch it into Pro Tools, it's that blue light right here. Comes. Okay. But that can be a demo in itself.
Right. Very cool.
That's kind of that. I know it's not a super intensive, lengthy thing, but when you set up, 48 channels of input and you're doing this same exact thing over and over, it can get pretty deep in there.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you're working on right now?
I have a couple projects right now that I'm actually going to transfer into this room once they're ready. I've been helping out with a podcast. I'm doing sound design for them.
Oh, nice.
Company, as well as a local band who's doing some demo reels for Instagram, like some little promo videos.
Cool.
Helping do some audio for that. But yeah, I have some just personal stuff too. I'm working on a little like EP of my own.
Oh, yay.
We're all helping out friends here at school. So
Yeah.
I actually plan on taking an old mix of mine that's out. It's a Green Day cover, and doing
Oh,
a
what?
really analog mix of this. Yeah, it exists on Bandcamp.
Okay, so you're doing an analog mix. Are you recording it?
So it's already been recorded.
Okay. I mean, like, are you going to record your mix of it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I fully intend to, like I said, if you search me on Bandcamp, the song will come up. And that was all done in my home studio. And now that I have access to here, I would love to map it out and just do a straight analog mix of it and kind of get a new feel for it, which if, you'd like me to do any videos of, I'd be happy to do as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think that would be so much fun. And
we're actually learning in school right now as well to run the SSL to a tape machine.
Oh, wow.
That could be another thing to look at. I can
Interesting.
do demos with you as I learn myself.
That'd be so much fun. Yeah, especially Rix, do you have any like Pro Tools things you wanna kind of highlight? Like any plugins that you would be like, okay, once we have our our tracking, like I'm gonna put this on it, or
go to right away. I like to EQ first. I think that just kind of it helps me to hear what I want better, and then it just makes sense in terms of workflow to me. So if I'm going to EQ something, I'm going to take out something I don't like. Why put a compressor first and compress that frequency as opposed to getting rid of it before I would have to amplify it and so forth. I will say that Deverb in Pro Tools is a beast. It's a great reverb, but it pitch shifts. So
okay.
You have to keep that in mind when you use it.
Okay.
That's something one of Jesse Noss actually at Duquesne had taught me, and it's insane. It goes like a full half step out of pitch if you listen to the decay of it.
Whoa.
But there's so many amazing, like if you watch any Facebook group that plugins will come out. There's a reverb called I think it's RAUM, RAUM, that I like a lot right now. Which I got for free. It was just a little special someone was running.
Nice.
So like just stuff like that. As a student, I always try and watch out for, because it may not be a super known name, but you have access to everything, so why not use it?
Yeah, why not? That's
and I
so
am a
cool.
big fan. I grew up on, I say grew up loosely because I'm only 20, but some of my first experience on an analog board was with the Rupert Neve board. So I love getting to work with Rupert Neve compressors here at Duquesne. Like that's just super cool to me. I was at State University when I worked on one of those. It was a 5080, so.
That's awesome. Well, congrats.
But it's a lot of fun, and we also have with SSL makes phenomenal preamps, phenomenal EQ compressors. We have what's called an SSL Fusion upstairs in our mastering suite, which just gives you the extra 15% you never knew you needed in a master. Nice. It's magic. We also say Duquesne FM, which means effing magic. Nice. That's what all of this stuff is. But my friends are here laughing because they get it. Like that's nice. But yeah, it's everything I think in audio. If it's not who you meet and when you meet them, it's trial and error with this stuff.
For sure.
It's having that sound in your head. Like for me, when I go into a room and I want to understand how the speakers sound, I listen to Jesus of Suburbia. That's the song I know. I know how I want it to sound, so I can base what I do off of stuff like that.
Okay, that's awesome.
No, I think if people don't do that to get comfortable with the room, I think they're kind of missing out, because we all have songs we know and love.
Yes.
And how perfect they sound to us on a setup. So when I bought new monitors for my studio, my mom can vouch for this. I was in Guitar Center playing that song through my phone to hear which one represented it how I thought it should be represented.
Nice.
And then you kind of tweak your room accordingly. So even mixing, I kind of approach it with that attitude. I think, how did my favorite record do this?
Nice.
Awesome. Like American Idiot, they cut all of their drums to 2-inch tape. So now that we're learning tape, I'm gonna cut drums to my EP on tape.
Whoa. Oh, that's so cool. Are you able to kind of show the space a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll try and spin it on here first, and then we'll see here. So this is our control room. It's on the first floor of our campus. Nice. So we come in, and we got our console here. So obviously our SSL. We have our PMCs up in the corners here, which are great monitors. Nice. We have 2 screens. So when you split in Pro Tools between mix and edit, it's super simple, or whatever you're doing. 2 screens here. So I usually like to work with mix window up here, edit window over here when I'm doing something like this. Then we have, let's see, we'll go over this way. this screen up here allows us to see the other rooms that we work with. So this is where Kenzie was. In the live room, we have our control room. We get to see ourselves. Our vocal ISO and our piano ISO, which used to be our original control room. And then if you want, I'm gonna pan past you guys. Is that okay? All right. Got some friends here with me. There's Kenzie. So we teach labs in here, which is when upperclassmen come through and teach underclassmen. They're kind of gist of the room. So whiteboard, and then we have our 2 tape machines out, so we've been working with tape.
Nice.
So that's our control room. And then, like I said, our live rooms and stuff are over there, but all kind of lives on the first floor of our music building.
Nice. Awesome. Would you mind just showing a little bit more of the board up close?
Oh, absolutely. We can go for that.
Awesome.
Pick you up here. All right. All right. So we have, see, meter bridge, channel strip, down to our faders. Here. And I can show you even too while we're here. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the screen, so you can see it flip from channel.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so forth. If you watch, I'll turn this up. Flips back down to monitor, turn it back up, and so forth. And then we have, bring you over here. There we go. Our master module, our TFT, some VU meters, our talkback sections up here. Our buses and stereo cues, so our foldbacks, what I was using here. And then master faders. And so
very cool. So do you approach each session differently, or do you have a set thing that you do, like a set method?
Bouncing between studios, having a home studio and here, those 2 kind of differ in terms of how I set things up, obviously. But in terms of mindset, my friends joke with me because I'll record some of my friends and they're like, engineer you is different from like normal you.
Sure.
And you get that like, yeah, I'm understanding, whatever. But
nice.
No, I think a lot of what I do is I try and prep before the session. So I'll ask someone like, hey, do you have like reference music? Do you have a demo? If not, do you have a song that kind of inspired you, just to kind of get what they're going for in my mind before I run the session. And then I do have miking techniques that I'm used to going to because I know how they work in my space.
Okay.
And I'm kind of comfortable with them. They're not, if it's, a session where I can venture out and try something new, great. Take an extra hour and, putz around with it. But
sure.
A lot of it's just, finding things out as you go and building from there. So like I said, I have miking techniques I'll use, but if I doesn't work for whatever particular reason, we change it up. I come in here and learn this console and get to try new things every day. So
yeah. And then for different genres, do you kind of apply different techniques for different genres?
Oh, absolutely. Especially I'm a guitar player by grade. So to me, guitar is something that I can kind of really hone in on.
Okay.
For example, if I'm going to run something that has pedals, guitar pedals, I'm going to run a couple DIs. I'm going to run a DI pre-pedals, a DI post, and then mics on the amp. Just so if something were to go wrong in terms of, like, we don't like how this pedal sounds, so forth, I have a clean one that I can re-amp later.
Nice.
Usually our post pedal DI, I never use. It's just super crunchy sounding and doesn't fit the bill, but it's like a safety net. And then obviously our 2 mics, if we like them, great. But I always try and have more than I need.
Nice.
You can't do that in the days of tape because you're limited.
Sure.
But with digital, if I don't end up liking, this guitar part, I cut it. If I don't like that overdub, I cut it. It's not a big deal, but I have it in case I need it.
Sure. Nice.
So I always kind of approach with the mindset that I'm going to get one more than I think I need.
Right. Nice.
And I try and I think a lot of this too is you have your best ideas off the cuff. So even in a mixing session, I've learned to try and just spill it all out as soon as I can. Like, don't go back and putz with that EQ. Get it where I think it should be, and then move on to something else.
Nice.
You try and get like 80% done, and then you can go back and do the last 20 when you sit and get to tweak it.
Nice. I like that.
So at least for me, I get in my own head about things. So if I can just get it out and move forward.
Yeah. After graduation, what are your goals?
So I tell everyone this, and this is my biggest goal in life, if you will. As I'm sure you know, no female has ever won the Grammy Award for Producer of the Year. And that is my goal. To if not the first, one of the first. But aside from that, obviously I do have my home studio.
Yeah.
See that become a force to be reckoned with in the industry.
I love it.
I've even interned where you start off making coffee, and that's how you start in this industry.
Yeah, of course.
I texted my mom the first day I did, and I was so excited. I was like, Mom, I made coffee.
Yeah, heck yeah. You have to start somewhere.
Absolutely. So I would love to end up in a studio somewhere. I'm kind of looking at Nashville, and I know it's like the country music capital, but it's just the music capital, and I don't think people realize that.
Sure.
I'm not a country music fan, but again, just the music capital.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And be an editor or something, but I would love to be a mix engineer in my own studio and then win that Grammy. So.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing. I'm rooting for that. So are you taking songs right now to mix in your studio?
Oh, absolutely. I mix, I master, I can edit. I like to take all work that comes to me, because to me, no experience is a bad experience.
Nice.
Especially, you know, in times like this, it's sometimes hard to come by work. So as busy as I can be, even with school, like I love being busy doing what I love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not work. It's, you know, getting free time and doing everything. But yeah, I actually did like a little special through my studio in terms of like quarantine, like, you know, rates are a little different and stuff like that. But even now, having access to the studio, I can bring stuff in now and give you an SSL mix. I can give you an SSL master. So.
That's amazing.
But yeah, if anyone who sees this, I will gladly share my email and so forth to my studio.
We'll make a post with links and everything. But I do want to say, like, I mean, just an amazing grasp of everything, you know, that you've demonstrated. It's like you're just going, and it's amazing, and it's really inspiring to me.
Yeah, I hope I didn't speak too quickly. That was kind of a fear of mine, but
well, and now we have the video, so we can go back.
Yeah, true. I know we're blocked here for 2 hours, and I looked at the clock and I was like, oh my god, it's just only 7.
No, and that's fine. I always block just in case, so that, you know, Zoom doesn't just quit.
No, I totally get it. But yeah, I think I would love to obviously show you guys more stuff on this as I get more comfortable with this, and we all, you know, grow together. Even we had briefly talked about some of the gear I have.
Yes.
That the studio video. My Tascam is my baby. I love it. It was my graduation of high school gift to myself.
I love that. Oh, it's amazing. That's definitely a dream for like the home. I would love that.
Yeah, I love her. She comes with me for live gigs. She stays with me for studio gigs.
Nice.
Forum sellers in Oakland before for gigs. So.
Very cool. Well, yeah, I definitely want to see that Green Day cover mix.
Absolutely, I can share the link to that too. So
it'd be so much fun.
That is Mackenzie, who was with me today, was my vocal producer on that. She's a singer, so she helped not sound awful.
Do you have any resources that you've gone to over and over as far as learning process of engineering?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, so there's a couple magazines I am into. So there's Church Sound magazine, which is a very entry level to audio kind of approach. Okay. There's things like Live Sound International, which are the same company. Okay. But I got my start in live sound before going to studio, so that holds a special place in my heart. I actually work for a union in Pittsburgh where we do set up and tear down for live shows. So I'm obviously out of work right now, but it's a lot of fun. So I'll go to magazines, and something that was instilled upon me at Duquesne was we do weekly logs where we just pick something we're interested in and we go research it. A lot of what I find is on the internet, and I love watching videos of like Green Day in the studio or whoever, and just seeing how records were made and how I can do that here. How can I reproduce that? Okay. So a lot of what I do is just kind of, hey, what guitar amp did Green Day use on this? You know, what compressor did this person throw on? And I have engineers that I look up to whose I will follow and read about, like Butch Walker is a phenomenal engineer. Emily Lazier, who won the Grammy for mastering. So I just find people that I look up to and always ask questions. I go at live shows when they're a thing. I go up to the sound engineer after the show and just say, how did you end up here?
Yeah.
I talked to Paramore's engineer and he's like, I met them in a bar. And here we are.
Sweet. Oh my goodness.
But I think everything in this industry is just being curious and going for it. So with Facebook now and the groups we have, it's phenomenal.
Yes.
So many resources.
What a resource.
It's great.
Yeah. So actually Emily's gonna be talking with us in like a month and a half. So watch for that.
There's people on this call right now who I know absolutely adore her. Greta, I'm looking at you.
Hi.
Nice. Yeah, we're just finalizing the date for like a month and a half roughly. So
that's
keep
I'll
watch.
be there.
Yeah, for sure.
So
awesome.
I did an article, or I did a paper. It's like a 17-page essay on females in audio, and how we're represented in the Grammys and stuff. And I reached out to her, and I have a good chunk of it on her.
Oh my gosh. Would you want to share that paper with the group?
Absolutely, I can do that.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah.
I also, if we're gonna plug anything, one of my best friends has a magazine called Riot Rage, which is specifically females in the entertainment industry.
Oh yeah.
It's any, women, transgender, cis women, anyone. It's just an outlet for creatives of that nature. So she is a
Riot Rage.
Yes, I'm the music editor for it. So I handle
there you go.
And so forth.
That sounds amazing. So yeah, we definitely need to post that.
She's an independent like myself. She's local. She goes to Pitt.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
She has 2 issues out right now. She's interviewed Dollskin, which is a huge kind of heavier female band.
Yeah.
So that was her first feature, which is very, very cool.
That's so cool. Oh, righteous. I'm excited.
A lot of cool things are getting to happen for my generation just because of kind of being brought up in COVID and having to adapt to things, people haven't done before. Like, I've never recorded a podcast on Discord before, but now it's half of what I do.
That's amazing. That's really incredible.
I love doing my own Foley, so that's how I ended up doing that. I get sucked into recording like placements.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. I'm in awe of Foley. I
got started doing a short like independent film for someone a couple years ago, and then it's just super fun. Cool. That film's out there too.
Oh, nice. Very cool. I had a question when you were talking about you were watching Green Day and you're like, okay, what amp did they use in this? Do you have tricks for, if you're on a budget and you don't have access to the gear that's, a band like Green Day would have?
Absolutely. I don't have access to that gear. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, at least for me, is thinking, okay, how can I apply this to what I do have? So like, I know that the drums from American Idiot were cut to 2-inch tape. I don't have a 2-inch tape machine, but at Duquesne, I have a 1/4-inch tape machine. So I'm going to try and weasel that in there, or I'll watch videos just of like final mix sounds for like Holiday or Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and I see them just turn up that compressor a little more than I thought they would.
Okay.
So mix, I'm going to turn up the compressor a little more than I thought I would. And
all right.
See if I like it, cool. If I don't, okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of just try and listen for things that, at least for me, when I mix, I tend to not take things far enough. That like reverb, I always get so scared of adding too much reverb.
Yeah.
So if I just get that extra notch, I'm like, oh, that's how they did that. I was just scared to do it.
Right. So. Oh no, that's awesome. Very cool.
And I love Sound on Sound. Is a magazine that has a lot of great articles from a lot of producers who I look up to. Like, they did a whole Butch Walker rundown. So nice. I look at what gear he has and how he uses it, and I think, okay, he has this signal flow. Can I do that in my room?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so cool. Well, I'm super excited.
There's never anything wrong about experimentation here. I mean, yeah, you could probably hurt some gear if you don't do it correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, kind of not being afraid to step out of boundaries. The Beatles freaking did it, and they're the Beatles. Like, yeah, they were some of the first to put microphones in a kick drum.
Right?
Everyone does that. You can't not do it, pretty much.
Yeah, I was just reading about like the start of mobile recording, and like the Stones and Zeppelin were some of the first to actually go outside of the studio, like in a random like the old had the Grange and all this stuff, and it's like, wow, yeah, that's so cool.
I just read an article from Live Sound International about the Who and the tour they did in 1990, and they toured with tape decks. They ran their master tapes to
Heck
get
yeah.
famous synth backing and vocal backing. And it's just like, this is how they did that then. And I was talking to Professor yesterday about, you know, tape, when people messed with it, was so groundbreaking. And I can't imagine in 100 years, like, this is going to be groundbreaking. So what's going to be happening then?
Right? Oh, amazing.
I mean, surround sound is now becoming a huge thing. Mixing in 5.1 or 7.1, like,
Nice.
it's just a huge deal. I mean, we have, is it 5.1 upstairs? Duquesne runs 5.1, so we can kind of begin to immerse ourselves in that experience.
Okay, very cool.
So just always being up on it. Like I said, just learning something new weekly. Just I just did an article about the sound in new iPhones, just because it's such a thing that it's knowing your market. I know that when I do a song, no one except for me is going to be listening through these.
Right.
Have their headphones. People are going to have their car speakers.
Yep.
So I always check mixes on that because I know that's what the consumer is listening to.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear more and see more. And thank you so much for taking the time to show us the SSL.
No, thank you so incredibly much for having me. I know at first I was a little worried. I was like, I'm a student. I don't know what all I can give you, but
you're awesome and inspiring, and it's, yeah, we're really grateful. So
no, thank you. I'm very blessed to have, you know, the friends I do in this setting. They're very helpful. The teachers I do in this setting, and just the opportunity that, like I said, every opportunity, no opportunity is a bad opportunity.
I love it.
In this, you got to take it. And I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. So
yeah,
I ended up here, and I love to see where it goes.
Definitely. Well, if anyone has any questions, they can find you. You can send me all the links, and I'll post them in the group. And
I can even share with you like PDFs of the PowerPoints if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I don't, if you want to say anything, I can say anything. It's the Women in Audio, WOMXN in audio on Facebook. If anyone would like to join the group, that's where all this will be. And they do insane demos. I feel so bad I haven't been able to make it to a lot of them because of classes, but
they're archived.
they're phenomenal. There was just one on Foley and doing sound effects using things that are sitting right next to you.
Yeah, like, Celeste, and she's amazing in Italy, and she had those boots, and it's all of a sudden a drum kit, and I'm just like, okay.
That just goes to show you, you know, okay, I love this big Green Day drum sound. I don't have a big Green Day drum kit. I have like 2 microphones. I could do it with freaking boots.
Right. I know. So yeah, definitely join the group if you want to catch some more demos and find Dannon. So
it's a very inclusive group. I know there's some males on here. It is not just for females by any means. You know.
Oh yeah. And come on over.
Yeah, and I've every time I've talked to people about this, I'm like, hey, like join the group. Like it's a super cool up and coming thing. And I know you guys are working to start something a little bit different from the Gear Sluts thing, which is super cool.
Yeah, we're actually, we're gonna launch soon. It's Gear Fanatics with an X.
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody who is, you know, interested, we're really trying to highlight underrepresented voices in audio and just, you know, audiophiles and gear nuts. So yeah.
It's great that it's sad that it's happening now in 2021, but it's great that we're now realizing that audio needs more, you know, an inclusive environment.
Absolutely.
Not just females in the Grammys, but people of color, people of other ethnicities.
Yep.
It doesn't exist.
Exactly.
So I'll share my paper with you, and you'll see how passionate I get about it.
Oh, please. Yes, please do. I would love to read it. And then if anyone is interested in the Gear Sluts story, we will be talking to Meg Lee Chin next month on February 25th, and how, you know, she co-created Gear Sluts, but then was kind of like relegated to the background and shut out of it. So there's that.
Deborah, former CEO of the Grammys, who called them out for being an old boys club and got fired.
Yeah. So yeah, 2021, it's, you know, it's still a discussion. So
but we're on some good tracks here, and I
think so.
And one of my biggest things before coming to Duquesne was I always thought that this school was prestigious. I always thought that these kids were like child prodigies, and don't get me wrong, they're all super talented. They're not, you know, stuck up like you'd think they'd be. And coming in here, everyone is so incredibly welcoming that I could not be in a happier place. So if anyone who sees this is in the immediate vicinity of Pittsburgh or is willing to travel, I highly recommend you come check it out. They do
Nice.
summer programs that are 2 weeks.
Cool.
Kind of test the waters if you want to feel it out here. But
oh, that's great. Very, very cool. Well, thank you again so much. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
absolutely, we'll get
yeah.
links to you and so forth.
Yeah, and have a great night. And thanks everybody who's watching and who came.
Absolutely. I appreciate every one of you here, and I appreciate you, Angie, for taking your time.
Of course. Thank you. Bye.
See you guys.